This is my first video. Let me see if I can prop this up so that you guys can see me. I am currently recording from my phone because my camera's kind of broken, and I've delayed this channel long enough. Let me look into the camera. I've delayed this channel long enough. First, what I want to talk about is what this whole video is about. I have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I'm just gonna answer a few questions that are specific to my case. Not every woman will have these symptoms, or not every woman will go through the same things that I'm going through, but this is just like from what I'm experienced. I am 28 years old. I'll be 29 this year, and I've had PCOS since I want to say I was diagnosed when I was 19. It was reconfirmed when I was 25. At the age of 25, I've always known that I wanted children, but 25 was definitely the year where I took it more seriously. I took my health more seriously, and I tried to find some answers. First, what is PCOS? PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It is a condition that affects fertility and affects the lack of ovulation. Women need to ovulate in order to release an egg, in order to conceive a child, and it's basically a hormonal imbalance. So just some fun fact, right now I am currently in the longest cycle that I've ever been in my entire life. Part of it has to do with the fact that I did start my first round of Clomid, but my last period was November 3rd of 2018. So today is January 31st. We're almost in February, and I have not received a period. That's another video for another time, so we're just gonna save that for another day. But I was diagnosed when I was 19. When I was 19, of course, I'm in college. I'm not really like trying to have a baby, so I go on birth control. Come to find out, birth control really doesn't take away the symptoms. Well, it doesn't really take away the disease itself or the condition itself. It just subdues the symptoms. So the fact that my body wasn't naturally ovulated didn't really help the situation. It just made my body imitate as if I was releasing an egg. Of course, we know what birth control does. And I was on the pill, so we know what birth control does and whatnot. So that's that. Fast forward to, I was on birth control for like, I want to say a year, almost a year. Fast forward to 2015. 25 years old, in a relationship that I thought was going to last forever, and shit happens. But that relationship didn't end very well, but I did find out some very important answers I was officially diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome at a fertility doctor, in a fertility office by a fertility specialist. Through blood work and through tests, they noticed that I had low increase of insulin. My body was not producing. Was my body not producing? I think I was producing too much insulin. I think that's what it was, which is also another symptom of PCOS. Why women take metformin, which metformin is a type 2 diabetic drug. Ooh. So that was that. They also discovered, certain things like excessive hair growth, weight gain. I think that's all I had. Just excessive hair growth in unwanted places, like my chin, and weight gain. And that was that. After that relationship ended, I really didn't explore fertility anymore until I met Bae now. So I wouldn't say that we are trying, but we're not preventing, but we're trying. It's weird because we're not like heavy into it, but I did start a Clomid cycle this month, and even after we did discuss that, after we would start fertility treatments really heavy after we came back from vacation. We're going on vacation in February and in March. But I did start a Clomid cycle. Reason being, when you're not really preventing having a baby, it really defeats the purpose of going backwards and going on birth control to get a period. So it's like, it makes more sense for me to do a Clomid cycle and to see how my body reacts to it than go on Pavera, which is it produces the hormone progesterone that starts your period. Like, that's the hormone that you have, right? That's the hormone that you get right at the end of your cycle that determines whether you're gonna stay pregnant or you're going to start bleeding. So of course, if progesterone stops, then your body will react and you will have a period. But if progesterone continues, then of course you are most likely with child, and you need that hormone to develop the lining in your uterus and implantation. And yeah, so started a Clomid cycle. I think on my calendar, I want to say that I started Clomid Wednesday, January 16th. This is gonna really put in perspective of how long this process really was. So I started Clomid January 16th, and then I did that I took 500 milligrams, two pills of 500 milligrams, so it's about 100 milligrams of Clomid for 5 days. Now, mind you, this is my first cycle now. A lot of women that I have come across have only taken Clomid, one tablet for 5 days, 500 milligrams. But I think because I hadn't had a period since November 3rd, my doctor really wanted to see how my body was going to react to the Clomid and see how many follicles that was going to grow and this, that, and the third. So I did that for 5 days. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I stopped taking it on the 20th. The 20th was the last day. And on the 7th day, which is the 27th, I had an ultrasound to see how my body reacted to the metformin. And it was very successful. I had 2 very beautiful follicles. He didn't tell me measurements, but he was super impressed. So I'm guessing it was at least over 24. Things was in milligrams. I think that's how you measure it. And then I had a smaller one, which was probably under that. I would say it was under 18. It was very small, but not very small. It was small enough. But the 2 ones, there was 1 follicle on each ovary. And if you know anything about Clomid, you know that it produces it helps you like stimulate your ovaries, so it helps you grow your follicle so that you can release the egg, and it can grow multiple follicles. So they always say that the chances of twins are higher. Anyway, it was really, really good, my ultrasound. So he said that night, so I done with the nurse, they said that night that I can do the injection shot to ovulate and baby dance for the next couple of days. And on the 12th, I'll know whether or not it worked or not, or I can start another cycle, or whatever the case may be. Now, the whole purpose of doing the metformin, not the metformin, Jesus. The whole point of doing the Clomid for this cycle was to start a period. Was not going to go back on birth control because I feel like that's starting backwards, not forward. So, even though there is a chance that it did not work on the first cycle, I do not think that we are going to be doing Clomid right after this cycle if it fails. I still believe in my body. I still believe that it can do something or will do something. And I'm just going to see. I think that if this cycle does not work, which I'm pretty confident, as much baby dancing I just did, if we not, then it just wasn't our month. But if this cycle is a no-go, then I'm not totally like, oh my God, you know, like there's other months. So that's that. Do I have any symptoms? Or did I have any symptoms with PCOS? Like I said before, it's just the excessive hair growth, the weight gain. I was a size 4 in high school. I am no longer 4, maybe like 16, 18, extra large, you know. I really don't have anything else. 2019 is basically just gonna be about self-health. It's just gonna be about, you know, we're probably gonna try Clomid a couple of more times before we try IUI. I know Babe is gonna have a semen analysis, and they wanted to do a semen analysis before, but I mean, we love each other so much that we, you know, we didn't follow instructions. yeah, you read into that of what the instructions is for semen analysis before you go in. But we didn't really follow the rules, so we have to reschedule that, and it'll probably be I'm thinking, because we go on vacation right after Valentine's Day, so I'm thinking if it is a BFN, then I'll schedule it for the Monday before we go away. Or I have him schedule it the Monday before we go away. But that's it. I just wanted to start this video off because if indeed I am pregnant, which I already, did I mention the trigger shot? Yeah, I took the trigger shot. So I was like Googling and trying to find information about the trigger shot, and I noticed that some women they test out the trigger shot, and I don't know. I took one test today to see how high the trigger like is in me, and I might take ovulation tests because it's very, very strong. My ovulation test is compared to the HCG, it was like really, really high. So I might continue to test out every morning with an LH test and not a HCG test. Yeah, because I want to save my test. And I think that I already wrote down in my book the days. So it says we baby danced 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. And today was the 31st, and it was the first day after ovulation. I believe I ovulated on the 29th, and I say that because I took the trigger shot at 10:40 at night on the 27th, and it takes about 36 hours. It says about 36 hours for you to release the egg, and I felt some twinges and whatnot on my left side on the 28th, and I was a little sore from the 28th to the 29th. Like my lower back was sore. So based on like hours, like I could have ovulated in anywhere between the 28th and the 29th. And then the egg, of course, lasts for 24 hours. So that's why we did 28th, 29th, and the 30th, just to make sure. So I think that if I'm going to test out, I'm going to be testing the 7th. That is a week after the 11th, because I think that by then, if I have a line, it should be very, very faint. And then the 12th is the day where she says that the trigger should be completely out of my system. I think that's 14 days in. And if that is negative, or if that is a faint positive still, I'm going to test again on the 14th. And hopefully it will be darker than on the 12th. And I can tell Bae that he will be a daddy. So that's all I have. I hope this video isn't too long. 20 minutes. Yep. So it's time for me to stop talking. And I guess I'll come back on the 7th. I hope I remember, because I'm a very busy woman.